Yep.
Good evening, one and all, and welcome to In the Blue Corner, the Wednesday edition, with your host, myself, Joe from Bangkok, and
The Liberian Chris Beach from Melbourne, Victoria in Australia. Good evening, one and all.
how are you tonight, Chris?
All right, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, just as I was telling you off air, very hot, very hot here today, 38 degrees. And for any people who know Thailand, Sawadee Pimai, which is Happy New Year. We have they call it Songkran. Normally they have water fights, but because of COVID, last 3 years we haven't had any. Here's a stat that you'll like, Chris. I know this isn't football, but our listeners love stats. They have a 7-day holiday period, and the average number of road deaths is 300 in 7 days, with a total of 2,000, with an average of 2,500 road injuries. Can you imagine that?
No, I can't.
It's just crazy here. People drink and drive, and anyway. So anyway, Chris, as we were talking about off air, we were very poor last week. The Blues. I know this is about the upcoming match, but what was your take on the weekend, Chris?
Well, I'll be short and sweet because we want to try and talk about the game ahead, which is against the Port Adelaide Power at the MCG on Easter Sunday. So I'll just quickly run through maybe two key points. The first one was our midfield got absolutely battered, starting with Jared Witts, a former Collingwood Football Club player in the ruck, playing against a young and sort of more developed, but still in developing phase, Tom De Koning, who pretty much just went to town on him after we had Mark Pitnet be a late withdrawal after getting hit late against the Hawks, where we subbed him out for the last 30 seconds. And then their defense just nullified our forward line after we kicked the first two of the game. And once we couldn't get a look in through the middle, Gold Coast put it on the scoreboard, and we were pretty much just not able to get ourselves into the game.
Yeah, I think it showed on the weekend. I mean, I know we're all talking about, we're going to be 4-0 in premiership. I mean, we haven't been 3-0 for a while, but I think it just showed that we still need someone. De Koning will be a good player, but not yet. He's still maturing.
Yep.
We don't really have another stand-in ruckman. I mean, Murkoff, is that the guy's name?
Murkoff.
I mean, he's green, which ponders me why they selected him. You know, why couldn't they leave him on the VFL list rather than the AFL list? But I mean, surely, you know, someone else could have gone in the ruck. But look, I don't know. But I only saw highlights of the game. I'm sure Jesus went in and pinched hit for a while, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did. And sorry, Joe, I've got nothing wrong with Jesus because he will always give you 100% effort, even if he feels he's a bit out of his own league against Jared Witts. So look, I've got nothing wrong with that. We had to try something, but yeah, other than that, we were just dominated.
Do you know what gets me though, Chris? Everyone says, you need a dominating ruckman, but I'm sure the midfielders are able to adjust. I think it still showed our reliance on Patrick Cripps. I mean, Chera's new, so I'll give him a bit of a leeway. Sam Walsh hasn't been himself since he's come back. I've noticed. I mean, he's still a good player, but hasn't got the touch of last year, has he? Might take him a bit of time to run into a bit of form. I don't know if that injury sort of stifled his training or whatever.
Well, I've been giving him a little bit of leeway because of syndesmosis injuries do linger, and he seems to be moving okay. So we're not going to put the burden. We're not going to put the burden into him because.
I'm not putting the burden into him. I'm not putting the burden.
No, I know you're not. I'm just saying us fans shouldn't be putting the boat into him when, Ascendismosis injuries in the ankle do linger a little bit here.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sure.
Sorry, Joe, on your point of Murkov, Paul Sebastiani, who is part of the Jumper Punch, he was calling the VFL game on the Sunday before the main boys played, and he thought Murkov was one of the standouts and has been developing a lot quicker than previous years. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens this week when our VFL boys play at the spiritual home of the Kelton Football Club against the Richmond Football Club. But we'll see how we go.
It's still Princess Park to me, Beachy. Can't call it Optus Oval or MC Oval or anything. I still know it as Princess Park.
Don't worry, mate. I do the same thing as well. The only name I probably use other than Princess Park is probably Optus Oval because that's what I knew it as back in the day. But nonetheless, it is still the same thing. And it is still home to us. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and hello, Rocco. He's Matt Kekatz. Thanks, Rocco.
Hey, attaboy.
This is a PG show, Rocco. We don't want any swearing on this show. So other than the middle, Beachy, I still think the other thing that showed up last week. So I'm just going to hug this pillow just while here. I think the other thing that showed up last week is that we've still got a few players with question marks. I don't want to name them. We're not here to name people, right, and shame them, and because I'm not out there. It's easy for me to sit here and go, "Oh, he should do this and he should do that," but I'm not going to name him. But I think you can't have 21 A graders. We know that, right? I still think some of our C graders need to improve. The blokes that have been there a few years, blokes that have been in the system. I mean, I see a lot of people bag the shit out of Plowman. I mean, I actually think he's okay. I don't think. Look, he's not your best defender. He's never going to be an A grader, right?
He's not.
I think he's only as good as the midfield defence. If they're good, he's okay. If the midfield defence are terrible, he'll get found out. So I don't know. What do you think about our list running round, Chris? Do you think it's got it? Hasn't got it?
Well, I think it's still a work in progress at this point, mate. Because for a few years now, we haven't had the depth to pick from for a number of years, and we've only just managed to get that depth within the last couple of years, specifically this season.
Yeah.
So, look, I think at the moment it's still a work in progress, but as the season progresses on, I think we'll find out more about our depth and our side when we come to face these other sides.
And it does take guys a few weeks, months probably to get to know each other's play style. And like you think about it, we got George Hewitt new, Adam Chera new, and I'm sure they probably don't know how Cripps plays and things like that. Talking of Cripps, I read on the internet before he's definitely out this week.
Okay.
The Carlton Football Club have issued a statement. Now, who knows, because he's just as likely to run out. But they've said that he will miss a week.
That's probably for the better, if you want my opinion on that, Joe, because we cannot risk damage to the hamstring because that is definitely is an injury that does linger the most. Fortunately, when he went for those scans after the Gold Coast game, he was cleared of any serious damage, so we are thankful for that. However, it takes one bad move for that hamstring to rip off the bone, and you'll see.
Yeah, no, that's what I know. We're lucky that he actually had the smarts to walk off the ground when he just felt it. A lot of guys might have tried to play through it, like run it out. So I think we're. Talking about this week's game, Chris, we were talking off air. This really is a danger game for us. And the reason is that Port Adelaide will be snarling. They're 0-4.
They will be.
Preliminary finalists last week. If they're 0-5, they'd be very long odds to make the 8, let alone the top 4. So my question to you, Chris, Do you think we will win, or do you think it'll be a close game, or what's your thoughts?
I know I'm very mindful of what Port Adelaide may do against us. They've had the recent record on us in recent years as well. Um, here's a fact for you guys at home, for those that love their facts and stats. The last time we beat Port Adelaide in Melbourne, Cruiser kicked the winner, and we only won by a couple of points. Now,
Yeah,
fortunately, this game is at the MCG. Now, if we were at the Adelaide Oval, or if the Fortress, as the Port fans call it, it might have been a different story. Now, I'm not saying this is. Now, I'm not going to say that this is going to be a walk in the park for us, because, sure, they're missing Lysette. I think they're going to be missing Lysette. They're definitely missing Wines.
Yeah, I'll tell you their injuries. Sorry, Chris. According to their website, Alir ankle test, Charlie Dixon ankle TBC, so he's out for a long time.
Yep.
Xavier Dersma neck test, Fantasia knee 5 weeks, Lysette shoulder test, Trent McKenzie knee TBC, Josh Sin it says grain, but it should be groin, 3 to 4 weeks. It's got a sore groin.
Sore groin.
And Ollie Wines has got Ollie Wines. It just says heart. I hope it says no heart, but he's TBC. So, but Alir always kills us. That's the bloke. I'm glad he's out here. I don't know what it is. We seem to kick it to him.
Yeah. Now, just while we go on to that injury list, I'm hearing that Alir may come back. I'm waiting for the official teams to come out for that.
Yeah.
Ollie Wines is a definite out.
Yeah, he's definitely out. Charlie Dixon's definitely out.
Yep. So, but we'll go back to Wines for a minute. Wines had a heart irregularity, which is something that you've got to take seriously, because you can't have a player of his caliber collapse and die on the footy field.
God, no.
Charlie Dixon, well, I'm glad he's out, because he's another one that's killed us over the years. I just have to go back to 2020 up at the Gabba, where he missed some shots late, but he still did damage against us. What else is there? Lysette, I think he's probably going to miss as well. That's probably a safer option for TDK, to be honest, because Lysette will just put the foot into him.
Yeah. Well, our injury list, Chris, it's Jack Carroll available. I don't think he'll be pressing selection. Cunningham, they say 9 to. Yeah. David Cunningham, 9 to 13 weeks. Well, we won't see him. Ed Curnow, knee, 3 weeks. Patrick Cripps, hamstring, 1 week. Durden available. He might be pushing for selection. Josh Honey. Sorry.
Sorry, Joe. I was just going to say Durden, because he was in health and safety protocol.
Yeah. So he's available. Josh Honey, knee test. Caleb Marchbank, 1 to 3 weeks. Oscar McDonald back. I think he'll be pushing for selection. Yep. Mitch McGovern, 3 weeks. Jesse Motlop available. Pitternet back. It says test available, and Tom Williamson, health and safety protocol available. So there's a few guys on that list probably pushing for selection. I would say that the ones that would be in consideration would have to be Durden, McDonald, and Pitternet, with possibly Motlop and Williamson sort of knocking at the door.
Yep.
What do you think?
Well, I agree with Durden. He's going to come back in. I believe he's going to come back in anyway, because we need that small forward to put in on that forward pressure. No disrespect to Lockie Fogarty, but Durden, younger, faster, hungrier, he'll be putting the pressure on the defence of the Port Adelaide quite quickly if it's around his area. So Williamson, maybe you might have him as a medical sub. I don't know. what else was there? Look, I think we could probably Motlop. Yep, he's probably going to be VFL.
Yeah.
I reckon because first year player.
So who goes out of the team? My thoughts. Well, Lewis Young will make way for Oscar McDonald.
Yeah, I think that'd be the case.
I think Fogarty will make way for Durden.
Durden, yep.
And I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know, it's either Lockie Plowman or Boyd for Pitnet. And then you probably have Nick Newman as the sub. I don't know. It's an interesting. The one that disappoints me is Jack Martin. I think he needs a run in the twos. I don't. Chris, you've watched probably a lot more interstate games than I have because over here in Bangkok, I only really watch the Carlton games. But was Jack Martin that much of a star at the Gold Coast? I mean, I know he was in one of their better players, but he just seems to lose. He's lost confidence with us. He's got no confidence. Other than that kick against Richmond where he kicked that 50-metre goal, I haven't really seen him do much.
Okay, when he was with Gold Coast, he definitely stood out.
Yeah.
Was he a star player? I'd probably say 80% yes. But here's the thing. When we got him and he debuted for us, he kicked 4 against Richmond in a losing effort.
Yeah.
So, and then, he stands out here and there, but I come to this word impact. What kind of an impact does he make to try and push for further impact?
I don't know. I mean, look, for once we've got a good problem as we don't know who to bring in and who to bring out.
Yes.
I really don't want to name names, but I think I'm not a big fan of Lockie Fogarty. I'm not a big fan. Nick Newman, yeah, he's okay. Lewis Young, well, the jury's out because he's only young, and pardon the pun, he's inexperienced.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: he made his debut against us when he played for the Western Bulldogs, and he was a good player there. The thing is, though, now since then he wasn't able to break into the Western Bulldogs side.
Yeah.
So because he was stuck in the Footscray Bulldogs 18
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It was good to see the cockroach last week, wasn't it?
Far out. Oh,
good old cockroach. He's all right. The only thing you knew about Casbolt, you knew you were going to get 100% effort, whether it was good, bad, indifferent. You knew you'd get the 100% effort. But
no, exactly.
So Chris, who are your ins this week and who are your outs?
Okay, well, I've got Durden in. That's no problem. I've got Durden in. It's probably going to be Lockie Fogarty to come out for him.
Yeah.
I was tossing up between Martin and Fogarty, but I'm going to give Martin another chance. Just because you never know what he might do against Port Adelaide. If he doesn't do anything against Port Adelaide, if he doesn't do anything against Port Adelaide, then I reckon he might be in strife, and we might put in Jesse Motlop for him. But let's get through this week first.
Yes.
So, Durden for Fogarty.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a tick.
Okay. Then I'm probably going to go Pitnet for Boyd, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Boyd was the medical sub, wasn't he? Last week.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're bringing McDonald in for Young?
Yeah, I think so. It's down to Plowman or Young. It's down to Plowman or Young if we're bringing McDonald in.
Goz has said Martin's testing my patience. He's testing all of our patience, Goz. Yeah,
we've got to be reasonable. We've got to be reasonable here in all seriousness. So let's give him this game. He doesn't do anything against the power. He can go. He can go have a sit in the tubes.
And he doesn't want Plowman either. Actually, that could be the swap. You could have Oscar McDonald coming in for Plowman, and Young could probably still stay. Or Boyd could still stay as the medical sub. Yeah, I mean he only had 30 seconds last week, but that's that's. I mean that'd be a bit harsh to drop him after 30 seconds, but I mean I worry about the medical sub. But yeah, there's a few to talk to guys. There's a few players in there that are testing my patience with consistency. Let's face it. We all know that there's effort. No one goes out there to lose, and no one goes out there to not go in and because you get hurt. But it's just consistency. I mean, early in the year, people were calling for O'Brien's head. No, not O'Brien, not O'Brien. Now they all love him. He's for a top 10 player. He was picked number 10. I'm very disappointed, and same with Paddy Dow. Although these guys will probably go to other teams and star. Do you know what I mean? That's what happens with us. We get rid of players, and then they go somewhere else and become superstars. And then anyone that has a great game against us, we bring them in, aka Frank Marcazzani, the classic, used to star against Carlton. Then we get him, and then he just doesn't play. Guys is talking about Dow as elevated. I don't know. I haven't seen the reserves or the VFL. I'm guessing the VFL. Look, it's a lot easier than the AFL. I'm guessing, but hey, you can only perform against who you're up against. You know what I mean? And if you're getting, if you're playing really well in the VFL, well then you deserve a shot. You know what I mean? But
I'm in complete agreement. Now, Dow has elevated. Yeah, you could say that, guys, and the stats that he had. I'll just quickly run through it because that's what I sometimes do. Here we go. He had 24 disposals and a goal. Paddy Dow. So look, that's a good effort in the second of them, which will probably push him for selection.
Yeah.
But again, as you say, Joe, this needs to be consistent. This needs to be consistent from this needs to be consistent from probably everything that's happened prior to when you brought him in.
Yeah. Oh, look, guys are saying about Dow to 24 months. The guy's probably what, 21? Is he 21?
Let me find out.
He couldn't have hit his peak. I mean, I think we expect a lot from these blokes. He'd have to be at least 21, 22. He couldn't be older than 22, could he?
He's 22.
Oh,
he's
okay.
22. He's turning 23 in October.
So he's still a young lad. So I mean, we all expect these draft picks to come in and play like Sam Walsh. I mean, he's a freak.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you, just changing the subject, I'll tell you who's been bloody good this year is that Rochelle at Adelaide.
Oh, I know.
God, do you know he's a mad Carlton supporter?
Yeah, I know. One of my colleagues at work who unfortunately supports Collingwood was telling me that.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, look, I know Pitnet's not our number one ruckman, right? I don't think, but he competes. He probably doesn't do enough around the ground, but like Jared Witts, he would have given Jared Witts a run for his money. Jared Witts is no superstar.
Yeah, he would have. No, right? He's not. He wasn't always in the ruck for Collingwood when he was playing there, but yeah, he was going to be given a run by Pitnet. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought Shearer had a poor, not a poor game. He was just quiet. George Hewitt's been a great pickup, hasn't he?
He's been fantastic, and I'm starting not to worry about him because if he's going to put in 100% effort in all games, then us fans won't worry about it because we'll know what to expect from him week in, week out. Coming from Sydney, Longmire would have, drilled in that standard to players like him each training session. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping he'll be trying to continue that with our boys.
Yeah, I hope he's got that real Sydney sort of grit and determination, hasn't he? He's got that
Yeah, he does.
sort of never give up. That's why I'm a bit disappointed in Nick Newman. Nick Newman was at Sydney, but doesn't seem to have the same grit. We didn't even chase you, and he came to us. I'd be interested to see what we're paying him.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere around the 600s, but I'm not sure.
Do you know who had a good? You know who had a good game was Zach Williams for once.
Yeah.
Guys, Newman's name. I'm talking about. You know who I hate? Not Newman. Nunes. Jack Nunes. Wrong in. Oh, give me a break about Jack Nunes. But anyway, he's not in the team.
No, he's in the twos, so that's okay.
So we agree that Durden in for Fogarty.
Yep.
Oscar McDonald in for Plowman.
Plowman or Boyd, maybe.
Yeah. Let's go Plowman because Goz doesn't like him. And Pitternet maybe in for Boyd.
Yep.
Or not?
Okay.
Oh well, hang on. We've left out the most important player, Patrick Cripps. Who's going to replace Patrick Cripps? I'm
hearing Dow.
Okay. So he may get his chance.
Yes, I'm hearing Paddy Dow because he's done quite well in the twos for recent weeks, playing inside, going for the ball, and actually bombing it long to I think the top of the goal square. And if it goes any further, like for a goal or whatever, then it's a bonus for him.
Yeah. Goz is asking his Cripps actually ruled out. Carlton Football Club came out about 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago, Goz, and said he'll definitely miss this week. But who knows? He's just as likely to run out on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
And play. And there are 2 games on Good Friday, Beachy.
Yeah, so North Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs is one.
Yeah, and Sydney West Coast is the other.
That's right. Yes, it is 2.
Well, Carlton were trying to push for a Good Friday game, weren't we? A while ago, didn't we want to play North Melbourne or something?
Yes, because we're halfway between. Because Carlton and North Melbourne are halfway between the Royal Children's Hospital.
Oh, okay.
And I was actually in favour of that because it actually made sense. It actually made sense for that to happen.
Yeah. So we're nearly finished. I thought Vince was going to join me for a minute. Oh, hang on. Yeah, guys, can we all come to the poker game at your place? I'll fly. I'm going to take a flight, guys. What's the buy-in? $1 million? Now on other news, Chris.
Sorry, that's
mine Führer, Gil McLaughlin, pulled the pin. What do you
Yes,
think?
he did. It was bound to happen at some point, Joe. But look, he's done well to be in the job this long. He's got the AFLW competition up and running. He's trying to get the Tasmanian team up and running as well, but he'll continue to do that while he's in the top job for as long as he is.
That's and I'm hearing that there's going to be a Twilight Grand Final this year.
Jesus Christ! If you want my opinion on that, Joe, I think you've just figured that out.
Yeah. Do you know what my opinion is? People will be too drunk. If they start with champagne breakfasts, I mean, they're bad enough with the game starting at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Imagine what they're going to be like at 4:45.
Well, put it this way, Joe. If you're going to have a Twilight Grand Final, give people an incentive to go to the ground. Okay. Now, I've actually been saying this for a few people, but I'm kind of thinking that they need to put a reserves grand final on before the main game that's the grand final. Because some sides, sorry, one league does that, and that's the rugby league in New South Wales.
Yeah.
From my
Chris, you're too young to remember. How old are you, Chris? 30?
30, yes.
Yeah. You're probably a bit too young to remember this, but I remember like going to the 1979 grand final. And you get there, like they used to have the under 19 grand final, then they'd have the reserve grand final, then they'd have the senior grand final. So you got three grand finals in a day. So people would get to the football at like, I don't know, 8 o'clock, and there'd be a game at 9. You know, the AFL, the MCC members, they actually got there early and they had games. But I mean, there's no under 19 now. It's the TAC Cup, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's the NAB League, as it's now known as.
Oh, is it? Oh, jeez.
It's NAB League. But anyway, look, it's still the same thing. It's still 17, 18, 19-year-olds playing, and you've got the reserves across the eastern seaboard. So, the NEFL merged with the VFL, and yeah.
So, look, we're nearly finished. Just very quick. I heard Andrew Demetrio on the radio this morning saying that there should be 20 teams in the AFL, not 18. He says there should be a team from Canberra and a team from Tassie.
Okay, well, put it this way. If the Tassie team gets up, that's taken care of. It's a matter of whether you put one in Canberra or whether you put one in Darwin or the Northern Territory.
I think the issue with the Northern Territory is that it's the dry season, so it's too hot. That I mean, having gone up there a lot of times for work when I was a young lad, like your age, Chris, I think that could be the only problem. But yeah, I don't know. And Chris, what do you think about all these players leaving the Carlton Football Club, the AFLW? I really think the AFL have screwed up a bit here. I mean, it's hard to build an allegiance for a club when kids get used to calling out Beachy, and then the next thing you know, Beachy's at another team. You know, like some of our players have gone to 3 teams in 3 years.
I know. Look, okay, I'll be brief about this. I was worried about Maddie Press-Parkis leaving because the year she won the AFLW Best and Fairest in years, she confessed that she was an Essendon supporter. So I was a little bit worried about that. What's blown me completely off guard is Georgia G following her out the door.
Yeah.
Because these two were stars of the competition. They were stars of our Carlton side. Then again, you look at the other players as well. With Port Adelaide coming into the comp as well, you've got to remember, and you're old enough to remember this, Joe. Greg Phillips played for Port Adelaide in the Sandful before coming across to Victoria to play for Collingwood.
Yeah.
So now that Port Adelaide are potentially coming in, does that mean that Aaron Phillips may say, bugger Adelaide, I'm going to go home to Port?
Well, apparently that's the big rumour, that she has unofficially given them a verbal agreement. But look, I don't know, Chris. I, as a Carlton supporter, I would find it very difficult to try to play for. If I got drafted by Collingwood, say, right?
Yep.
Not that I wouldn't give it 100%, but deep down, I would hope that I would get to Carlton, or that they'd have picked me. But you got to remember, the AFL, you don't always get what you want in life. So if you're deadly serious about the team, then you go and play for who you can, and you do what you can with who you can, and look, I don't know. But anyway, we're getting off the track. Anything else, Chris? We've been going 35 minutes. We wanted to keep this show short. So we've agreed on who's out.
Yep.
We think. Well, we're going to think that Patrick Cripps is out because apparently he is. That's according to the Carlton website. So Paddy Dow for him.
Well, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that word from the club because that's usually a pretty good source.
Yeah. Durden will come back for Fogarty or Fogarty, whatever you want to call him. Fogarty.
I think it's Fogarty, but anyway, well, that's neither here or there in this state.
Yeah. Oscar McDonald for Vince's love child, Plowman. And Pitternet probably for Young?
A boy.
Okay.
Boy, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, and no Ollie Wines?
No Ollie Wines. No Lysette. No Dixon.
No Aaliyah, hopefully.
Possibly no Aaliyah, but we need to wait for the teams tomorrow at 6:25 to find out. Of course, we reminded people this is where we get an extended bench, considering we're Sunday.
Yeah.
So you need to wait until about 5 o'clock on Friday to get the confirmation.
When does our VFL team play, Chris? Do you know? Is it Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday, and they are playing Sunday morning against the Tigers.
Up at Princes Park.
Yes, out at Princes Park. It's going to be, I believe, at about a 11:10 start. I'm just going to bring up the fixture now just to make sure of it first. Yep, 11:05 start at Princes Park.
Yeah. So now that we've picked our teams, Chris, prediction: Carlton or Port?
Carlton by a goal.
Yeah. Goz has asked, what are the issues we face? Do you know, I still think, sorry, Chris, I'll give you my prediction. I still think we need to tighten up our defence. We tend to give away, I don't know if you want to call it Bolton's gift, Teague's gift, and now it's Voss's gift. We seem to get runs of 4 goals against us, 4 and 5 goals, and we can't seem to stem the tide for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I think it's our defensive structure. I mean, it's getting better, but I actually think we'll probably lose, but I hope that we win. If we win, it'll be a couple of goals. But I don't know whether that loss last week will stir them up. I don't know whether Port Adelaide might come out firing. You know, it all depends on the other side as well too. It's not just ours.
Yeah, it does.
All I know is that we have to be on from the first bounce. We really have to be on.
We have 100%. We have to be, because then there's still Travis Boak. There's still
Robbie Gray. He kills us, that bloke.
Well, Robbie Gray hasn't played in the last little while, but you know, you're right. You're right. Robbie Gray's still part of the Port Adelaide setup. But, you know, we still have to be very, very careful how we approach this Port Adelaide game. Because Port Adelaide, if they sniff one bit of us being off, it's, righto, you're off, we're on, we're going.
Yeah, anyway. Guys, put up your prediction. Anyone else watching, put up your prediction. I just think look. I hope Carlton win, but I wouldn't be surprised if we lose, but I hope we win. If we do, it'll be very close. It won't be.
Yeah, that's what I'm running, Joe.
Yeah,
that's what I'm running.
All right.
So, Chris. Yep.
No, guys are saying Blues by 20 points. I hope so, but what I don't want is another Hawthorn game. I don't think my heart could take it.
Jesus. Look, I was actually talking to one of my Carlton. Well, I was talking to a Carlton supporting cousin of mine when we played Hawthorn, and she said, "Jesus, my heart." Like, yeah, how do you think we all felt at the G, guys? Bloody hell!
Yeah. I know. Anyway, so Chris, everyone watching, Chris and I will see you next week. Hopefully, the Blues will be 4-1 and cemented our place in the top 6. I don't know about top 4, but all these close games aren't doing our percentage well either. I mean, the 30-point loss last week didn't help. But Anyway.
No, I didn't.
All right, Chris.
That's okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, John.
Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.